I'm going to make some bread, some probably more closer to ciabatta or something like that. I'm going to use a pizza flour. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my water and I weigh everything. I do everything in grams. I don't do anything in half a cup or any of that sort of nonsense. Yeah, so I want 470 grams and I've gone a little bit too much, and the reason I'm weighing it is because I want that exact, right, there you go. Okay, so I'm going to put 470 grams of water into the bowl, and then I'm going to get my yeast, yeah, and I'm going to, and I use a different thing here, turn her on, and turn it there, and I'm going to use I want 7 grams, which is basically 2 teaspoons of, now I've gone too much. Right, so there, and I'm going to put that in with the water, and I'm going to let that hydrate a little bit. Yeah, that's the important part now, is to hydrate that. Just going to give it a bit of a stir and encourage the yeast to get going. I'm going to put seven grams of sugar. I'm just going to do that like that with sugar, 1 and 2. Okay, and that'll help the yeast do its funky stuff. Get ready. You stir it up. Okay, so whilst that's doing that, what I'm going to do now is, I'm not going to add the salt yet. The last thing you add is the salt. I could add my oil. So some olive oil, and it's not going to harm life. So 2, 1, there, okay. Right, let that do its thing. Put it away. Right, next thing is we're going to measure out our flour. So I need 600 grams. This for the first time, the flour, we want 600 grams of this flour, so none of this half cup or 5.5 cups. You do it all by weight. Because especially with the water and the, oh Jesus. Okay, that's all right. I'll take. He's not included. Okay, because the important part of making this is hydration. Yeah, so that is flour to water, and you must be doing the same. So that'll be that's a little bit over. Okay. Right, there you go. So, checking on our gear here. So we've got 600 grams of that in there, and that's now dissolved. It's looking okay. So what I'm going to do, just clean up a little bit, get this fella, and what I'm going to do is now, one thing I've forgotten. So the last thing that you add before adding the flour is salt, because salt can damage your yeast. So sea salt, Yeah. Okay, there's that. Now we do this fella. Get that in there. Okay. Now, right, so there it is. And what I'm going to do now, this is to say, this is a new flour, so it's every type of flour has a different hydration. But we don't want to, all we're going to do is make sure that it's all mixed together at this stage. Important at this stage that you don't need to do much more than what I've done there. That'll do. Yeah, so I'm just going to, just going to let that now rest for 24 hours. I'm going to, so we've now got that covered. I'm going to put that in the fridge for 24 hours, and then tomorrow we'll give it a knead, fold, and make it nice and soft and silky, and break it up into 4, and we'll get 4 ciabattas out of it. It's quite a moist, concoction. So I think, as I say, it's new flour. So maybe we could have done 70%, but we'll only know tomorrow. Okay, so it's been a day, 24 hours, and we can see now that our dough has started to ferment and it's risen quite considerably. So what we're going to do now is get it out and give it a bit of a, still very, I think if I use this dough again, I'd cut the hydration down to 70. It's not a lot, but it's just every, maybe this, and of course, if you're making pizza, this is pizza flour, you would definitely be down around the 50 mark. Okay. 600 grams of flour. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to split him into 4. Look, I'm not going to go into big weights on this. There. And we're going to ferment these now for a considerable amount. Bread's been, I reckon I've probably put 10 minutes total work into getting to there. So they're going to go into the fridge now. We'll probably have maybe one of these in 2-3 days time, and they will be the most beautiful. We'll either make focaccia or we'll make baguettes out of it again. Yeah. Ooh, look at that! Ooh.
Nice.
That's perfect, isn't it? Is that good? Yeah?
Yeah.
You can trim it up like. Look at that, it looks good. It looks great. It's getting right on the end of its rising thing. So now I've got some sesame seeds. We're out of sesame seeds. I'm going to put some salt on it. And I did see some black pepper.
Pepper.
I'll put that on there also. And then I've got some black sesame seeds here I found. And so now, let's put him in the oven. Yeah? Okay. Okay, there she goes. Ooh, look at that! Ooh.
Nice.
Okay, so I've got some, what's the name paper? Greaseproof paper, and I've wet it so you can do whatever you like with it. Yeah, and I've got my baguette tray. I'm going to make a baguette tonight. So I've just pulled some dough out. Look at that. Look at this. It's been fermenting, I think, this one for 9 days. Yeah, so it's now there. So we're going to cook him it's 1 o'clock. And then what I'm going to do is just get him out of there. It's important you don't upset the whole, you know, keep all of the beautiful you can see just trying to now pull him out. You don't want to squash him because all those beautiful fermentation bubbles and that's what you're going to see in your bread once it's cooked. There it is, and there's the baguette.